Most people think the ultimate billionaire status symbol is owning land. If you look at the most successful videos in the business niche, topics like the economics of owning a ranch draw massive audiences because land represents the ultimate tangible asset. A ranch is a horizontal empire built on soil, rain, and the slow biological clock of nature. But for the modern billionaire, nature is a variable, and billionaires hate variables. The billionaire problem we are exploring today is the attempt to disrupt 10,000 years of traditional agriculture by moving the farm inside. This is the vertical farming empire. It is a modern twist on the ranch in the supermarket. Instead of managing thousands of acres of open range, you are managing thousands of square feet of climate-controlled, lead-lit, data-driven real estate. It is a high-stakes bet that technology can finally outperform the sun, but as many investors are finding out, competing with free sunlight and free rainwater is a financial nightmare that can swallow billions in capital before a single head of lettuce is sold. The evolution from soil to silicon. In the sources, we see the economics of real estate businesses and shopping malls. Vertical farming is, at its core, a fusion of these two. You are taking urban or peri-urban real estate and turning it into a high-density production facility. Unlike a traditional ranch, which relies on the carrying capacity of the land, a vertical farm relies on stacking. When you own a ranch, your production is limited by the surface area of your property. In a vertical farm, you cheat the physics of geography. By stacking crops in layers sometimes 20 or 30 stories high, you can theoretically produce 300 times more food per square foot than a traditional farm. This sounds like the ultimate billionaire play: total control, maximum density, and a year-round harvest. But this is where the billionaire problem begins. To replace the services nature provides for free, you have to build an infrastructure that is more expensive than a hospital or a gold mine. The CapEx trap: building the plant hospital. In our analysis of the economics of owning a hospital, we see that specialized infrastructure drives the cost of entry to astronomical levels. A vertical farm is essentially a hospital for plants. Every variable: temperature, humidity, CO2 levels, nutrient balance, and light spectrum must be perfectly maintained 24 hours a day. The capital expenditure CapEx for a commercial-scale vertical farm can range from $50 million to over $200 million for a single facility. You aren't just buying a warehouse, you are buying climate control systems, industrial-grade HVAC systems that must remove the massive amount of heat generated by thousands of LED lights, automation and robotics. To make the economics work in high-cost urban areas, you can't rely on traditional farm labor. You need robotic seeding, harvesting and packaging lines, the LED grid, thousands of specialized lights that mimic the sun's spectrum but without the heat or the wasted wavelengths. Unlike the economics of owning a restaurant where you can scale back during slow months, a vertical farm is a live system. If the power goes out or the sensors fail, you don't just lose a day of sales, you lose your entire herd of crops. The risk profile is closer to owning an airline or a cruise ship, where fixed costs are so high that any downtime is catastrophic. The energy problem: competing with the sun. The single greatest billionaire problem in this industry is the electricity bill. In traditional farming, the sun provides the energy for photosynthesis at zero cost. In a vertical farm, you are paying a utility company to provide that energy. When we look at the economics of owning a gas station or an airport, we see businesses that are highly sensitive to energy prices and utility infrastructure. A vertical farm is an energy consumption beast. In a typical indoor farm, electricity can account for 40% to 50% of the total operating expenses. You are essentially burning money to create light. To compete with a traditional farm that grows lettuce in California or Arizona, your vertical farm has to be so efficient that the saved logistics costs outweigh the energy costs. If you own a trucking fleet, you know that moving heavy water-rich produce across the country is expensive. The vertical farmer bets that growing the lettuce in the middle of New York City or Dubai will save enough on trucking to pay for the electricity. However, the math rarely adds up for calorie crops like wheat, corn or soy. These require too much light energy to be profitable indoors. This leads to the niche trap. Vertical farms are currently limited to leafy greens, herbs, and microgreens products that are 90% water and sell for high margins in supermarkets. But a billionaire empire cannot be built on basil alone. The labor problem. From farmers to PhDs in the economics of owning a ranch, labor is often about traditional skills and land management. In vertical farming, your farmhands are data scientists, plant biologists, and software engineers. Urban labor is expensive. When you place your farm in a high-density city to be near your customers, you are competing for talent with tech companies and banks. You aren't paying someone to drive a tractor. You are paying a PhD in botany to optimize a nutrient film technique NFT or an AI specialist to train computer vision models to spot leaf mold. This creates a high OpEx operating expenditure that traditional farms don't have to deal with. To solve this, billionaires are pouring money into total automation. They want a lights-out farm where robots handle everything from seed to salad bowl. But every robot added is another $1 million in CapEx and another potential point of failure. The competition, the traditional giant. The most overlooked part of the billionaire problem is that traditional agriculture isn't standing still. As we saw in the economics of owning a supermarket, the supply chain is incredibly optimized. Traditional farmers are using GPS-guided tractors, drought-resistant seeds, and precision irrigation to lower their costs. A vertical farm is trying to compete with a product that is subsidized by the government and produced at a massive scale. When a head of lettuce at a supermarket costs $2 and your vertical farmed lettuce costs $4.50 to produce, you are relying on a very small percentage of premium consumers to keep you in business. This is the same problem faced in the economics of owning a restaurant. High-end niches are volatile and hard to scale. The distribution play, bypassing the middleman. To survive, a vertical farming empire must act less like a farm and more like a courier business or a logistics hub. By owning the last mile, indoor farms can deliver produce to restaurants and schools within hours of harvest. This is where the empire part comes in. If a billionaire can build a network of farms around every major global city, they can create the first truly global local brand. Think of it as the economics of owning a shopping mall but for food. You control the space, the production, and the distribution. You bypass the trucking fleet and the traditional wholesalers. The financial endgame: exit or extinction. Why are billionaires still investing if the electricity costs are so high and the labor is so expensive? Because they are betting on a point of no return. Climate change. As droughts and extreme weather make traditional ranches and farms more risky, indoor farming becomes a hedge. Technology curve. Lead efficiency has improved by over 50% in the last decade. If it continues to improve, the energy problem might eventually vanish. Data as the product. The real value might not be the lettuce. The value is the growing recipe, the digital code that tells the robots and lights exactly how to create the perfect plant. In the sources, we see the economics of owning a gold mine. In the 21st century, data is the new gold. A vertical farming empire is a data collection machine. It learns with every harvest. Conclusion: the ultimate high-stakes gamble. Owning a vertical farming empire is perhaps the most complex billionaire problem we've covered. It requires the real estate savvy of a shopping mall owner, the technical precision of a hospital administrator, and the logistical grit of an airline CEO. It is a bet that we can move beyond the soil. It is a bet that the economics of the ranch can be replaced by the economics of the lab. But until the cost of electricity drops or the cost of traditional farming skyrockets due to environmental collapse, the vertical farm remains a beautiful, high-tech, billion-dollar money pit. Would you bet your billions on the sun, or would you bet them on the grid? In the world of high-capital assets, the most dangerous billionaire problem is forgetting that nature has a 4 billion-year head start on your R&D department.